Guitar tips, just the tips just for you. Guitar tips. Hello and welcome to Guitar Tips. Welcome if you're new, and welcome back if you are not so new. My name is Adam Levy, and this here, Guitar Tips, is my weekly video blog series. Yes, I'm aware there's a word vlog, but I like to say video blog. Anyway, I post a new tip here each and every Friday. Just the tips, just for you. That's the Beatles up there in the corner. It's a cool picture. You probably can just barely make out the outlines of the Beatles in there, but anyway, I like the Beatles. We are not talking about the Beatles this week though, because I'm on a roll. We are. I'm in the midst of a series here, a mini series within the greater Guitar Tips series, a 7-part mini series about the melodic minor scale and its modes. The melodic minor scale, let's just quickly look at what that is so we know what we're talking about. If we start on C, the melodic minor scale would be C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B, C. I guess you could play that up here. It'll be all in position. And that's what it is. Now, if you've studied music theory in high school or college, you may have learned that the melodic minor scale is really 2 scales in one. It goes up with those notes and then down with those notes. And the difference being on the way up it's A natural and B natural, and on the way down it was B flat and A flat. That's true historically, but when we're talking about jazz and improv and really any kind of contemporary setting, we don't. That's not what we do. When we talk about the melodic minor scale in a contemporary improvisational context, we're really just talking about the ascending mode. So again, on C that'd be C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B, C, or 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the octave. Let's demystify the melodic minor scale. It is, it can be mystifying, as we just saw. Just the real nuts and bolts of the construction can be mystifying. I hope that little bit there is showing you that we're just talking about the ascending mode. Hopefully that will bring some clarity. But it's also just mystifying in sound, and it's funny, it's so close to being a major scale, and yet it's so far from being a major scale. It's close in that the group of notes is identical to the C major scale, except we just change one note. Instead of E natural, we have E flat. So instead of going do, re, mi, fa, so, we go do, re, mi, fa, so, la, ti, or si, do. And just that one change from E to E flat affects everything so much, and really takes it into a different sound altogether. So before I get into how to apply it, I just want to remind you, I think we talked about this last week a little bit, a good way to get to know scales, of course you want to get to know them in positions and play them across the fretboard this way, but I also think it's important to do the work horizontally across the string. So that could be as simple as practicing the scale up and down. It could be in patterns. Or, or whatever kind of pattern. You could do that on any string. You could also play pairs of strings, so that would give you, if you wanted to practice in thirds, say, you could go This is first string and second string. I just started on these two notes, no particular reason, just low down because we're going to go up. So I'm going to go up, and I'm just following on each string, going to the next note of the scale. So I happen to start on G and E flat. So then we go to A and F, B and G, C and A, D and B, E flat and C. You could do, thirds are nice. You could certainly do fourths, right? You could do fifths. You could do that on any set of strings, any pair of strings. You could do triads. That's a nice thing to do to get to know the scale. You could do things that are three notes that aren't triads. You could maybe do. So this is a fourth and a sixth. Fourth on top from G down to D, and D down to F is a sixth. And if we move that through the scale, pretty interesting. I like to find that stuff. It really helps me get the sound of what the harmonic possibilities are in a scale. And you might find that you come up with some a kind of a chord voicing that you wouldn't think of in any other way. You're not going to find voicings like this in a guitar dictionary chord book kind of thing, but you can find them by experimenting. So I would encourage you to do that. Now, okay, so we're in C melodic minor here. Let's look at what the sixth mode is, because that's where we're at. This is Let's Demystify the Melodic Minor Scale. Part 6, which means the sixth mode, is what we're going to look at this week. So if C melodic minor is the parent scale, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we're going to start on A and just use the same note. So if we were in C major and not in melodic minor, the mode off of A is called Aeolian, and it's just a minor scale. But when we put that E flat there instead of E natural, it really changes everything. We could call this Aeolian flat 5, I guess, but I think people tend to not think of this as a changed Aeolian scale, but they tend to think of it as a Locrian scale, because if you relate again back to major key harmony, the one kind of minor chord in there that has a flatted fifth, I'll just play quickly the chords in C major. So these are the four-part chords in the C major scale. C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G 7, A minor 7, and then we get the B minor 7 flat 5. Ooh. Ooh. That's a little better. So that's chord built off the 7th degree in major harmony is the minor 7 flat 5. But in melodic minor, we get a minor 7 flat 5 chord on the 6th degree, and there's another one too that we'll look at next week. But so instead of thinking of this as Aeolian flat 5, I think most people would tend to think of this as a Locrian scales. An A Locrian But traditionally, a Locrian has a B flat in it. It would look like this. It's essentially a B flat scale starting on A. But in this scale with C, oh boy, I hope I'm not adding more confusion. I'm really trying to clarify this. It's all pretty clear up here. Hope it's coming across clearly. When we look at this scale with C melodic minor as the parent scale, what's different between that scale and a B flat major scale is just the difference between B flat and B natural. So people will call this A Locrian sharp 2, or really I like to think of it as A Locrian natural 2. So instead of this, which would be A Locrian from major scale harmony, we have this. So that second degree is B natural and not B flat. And so what that does for us in, let's talk about it in a jazz context, because I mean you can use melodic minor modes in whatever kind of music you want, but they're most at home in jazz and jazz related music. So I'm going to talk about it in relation to a jazz setting. So if you have an A minor 7 flat 5 chord, if you wanted to put some color on that, a nice note is the 11th. You can put the 11th in there. But we tend to not use the 9, because if you're thinking about that chord as coming from Locrian, the 9 would be flat 9 and A minor 7 flat 5 flat 9. It's just not that pretty. But when we use this mode, the Locrian with a natural 2, you get this beautiful. So my guitar, I did tune it before this episode, but I had been in a strange tuning. I've been listening to a lot of David Crosby lately, so my guitar was in a totally different tuning. Now that I've brought it back to standard, it's kind of still settling. But anyway, we have this beautiful sound of A minor 7 flat 5 with a natural 9. Or I'm trying to think of another place you could play that. So that's fine up here. Let's see if I can get all that. Sure. So it's a kind of way to get some brighter color on an otherwise very dark chord, minor 7 flat 5 with a 9 in it. It's just kind of a neat sound. So if you're somebody who has a real book or has access to a real book, if you check out the last 8 bars of Stella by Starlight, in the key of B flat, it's written. These are the last 8 bars, 1 chord per bar. E minor 7 flat 5, A7, D minor 7, G7, or sorry, D minor 7 flat 5, G7, C minor 7 flat 5, F7, and then back to B flat. So that's the home bass key, and then again the chord progression goes. And if we wanted to add 9s on any of those minor 7 flat 5s, we'd get this. And now I'm adding the sharp 5 on the dominant chord. So this is E minor 7 flat 5, E, B flat, D, F sharp. And then we'll do the same voicing on the D. So D, A flat, C, E. So 9 instead of 3. And so that's kind of the sound. And that that 9 to 3 thing you could do melodically. Or it could be, that's a 9 to 11. Or you could do 9, 11, 3. And then if you break that out into, melody lines. So on E minor 7 flat 5, I'm thinking of that as mode 6. So if that's 6, 7, so that's G melodic minor, A7. For D minor 7 flat 5, you say D is the 6 of what? It's of F. So F melodic minor, G7. C minor 7 flat 5 is E flat melodic minor. Imperfect, but hopefully you get the point. That really is the sound. If you want to hear this mode, listen to Bill Evans' Sunday at the Village Vanguard, Glorias Step. The last few bars of Gloria's Step have some of this kind of sound going on. Again, what I find so appealing about it is it's dark and yet bright. It takes us from, this is D minor 7 flat 5, kind of a dark sound to this much brighter sound. Now I'm playing, I've got the 9 and the 11 in there. D, A flat, C, E, G, D minor 7, flat 5, 9, 11. There we go. D minor 7, flat 5, 11, 7, 9. It's a beautiful sound, so I would encourage you, if you're working on any jazz tune that has a minor 2, 5, 1 in it, when you have the minor 7 flat 5 chord, which is the 2 chord in minor, that's where you want to apply this. If you want to think of it as a melodic minor scale, a minor third up, that's a possibility, though I really would encourage you to hear it for what it is. And if you're not sure what I mean by that, go back to an earlier tip called Dorian is Dorian. Let the modes be what they are. I know I just gave you all the melodic minor equivalents because that may be helpful, but really think of, let's go back to A. Think of A minor 7 flat 5 as some kind of A scale that has the root, the 2, the minor third, the 4, the flat 5. That's the juicy note, and then the flat 6 and the flat 7. my guitar. My apologies to your ears, and my apologies to the fine folks at the Martin Guitar String Company. These are not Martin strings here. But on all my steel string acoustic guitars, I do play Martin guitar strings. I like their retro series with a 12 gauge on top. That is the MM12 retro set. Try them out. I love them. Every time I take a guitar with those strings to a recording session, people are like, wow, that's the best acoustic guitar I've ever heard. And some of my guitars are great and some of them are just okay. But those strings really bring out, I feel like they bring out the best in whatever guitar you put them on. So let's demystify the melodic minor scale, part 6. Sixth mode, 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7. Practice it in all the keys, practice it in different intervals, practice it all over the neck, practice it one string at a time, make up some chord voicings using compound intervals. Get to know it, get to love it, listen to Bill Evans, especially Sunday at the Village Vanguard or anything from that period with Scott LaFaro and Paul Motion. There's so much dark, brilliant beauty in all of that stuff. And you'll hear some of these sounds. I'm sure you'll recognize them in Bill's playing. Okay, next week, the 7th and final mode. I'm Adam Levy for Guitar Tips. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. And take good care. And hey, t-shirts are available. I've still got a few left. If you're interested, send me a note. Guitar tips at adamlevy.com.